The story of money goes something like this. In the beginning, we would exchange things that we have, maybe things that we've grown in our garden, in our farms. We would also build things, make things. These are very valuable things to other people. Other people might need your fruits from your gardens. They might need some tomatoes. Some people might want to take the bowls that you made out of clay pottery. We have things that we produce and create, and we could exchange that with other people's things. So if I give you this, then you'll give me this. And that's how it first began. But the issue with if I give you this, then you give me this, is it a fair exchange? Let's say you want to give me something back in a fair exchange, but it's not something that I really like or something that I really want. Now we have a dilemma because I want to give you something, but we can't, just always just give, can we? We have to feel like there is something in equality in our exchange. We need that equality in our exchange to avoid corruption, avoid unfairness. So the fair exchange between two things was the issue. So now we have money. And money is a note. It can be an I owe you note, or it can be a note of pure exchange, a fair exchange. So when you have an I owe you note, you're telling someone, with money, I owe you something. You have something from me that I have to give you because I don't have anything that you want from me right now. It could be a mix and a match. It could be I'll give you some of my corn, but maybe it's not enough compared to what you're giving me, so I'll give you a little I owe you receipt. So we make money with having something to sell. That's what we've come to. We make money by having something to sell. Pay very close attention to this concept as we near the end of this video. We make money with having something to sell. So money is the exchange. It takes the place of that thing that we once would exchange with. And it is something that now gives the person who has that note more value. They have more things. They have more promises from people. They have more availability to get what they want, anything that they want, because now money's like a universal note that you can use for anything. So you make money with having something to sell. This is through produce. Like I said, like you have your farm food, you have animals, you have products, right? You have the things that you make that other people might want. And you have production, which is the system of making those products, which also can be something that is for sale. Like somebody could take the whole production, the whole process. This is the way that money is made, through these things: produce, products, and production. Instead of having other things, you now have these universal notes of exchange. So you can go anywhere. Like you can go anywhere and get anything that you want, right? Because before you would have somebody else's things, right? And if you want to travel to, across the seas, maybe you don't want to carry all those things with you. So now you've got this note of exchange. This note of exchange is a upgrade from just having things, because you can go more places with this note of exchange. You can get anything you want with this note of exchange, because you may not have a thing that people want, but if you have the note of exchange, that means that that's something that they can use to get anything they want. Okay? Because the money takes the place of the thing. So you have a universal note of exchange, which gets you anything or more notes of exchange. So with money, you can also come together with somebody else, some other type of business. You can invest in someone else's business, right? System of production. And you can invest your money in those things, and that makes you money. So the money story shows us the different ways that you make money because of what money actually is. Instead of having other things, you have a universal note of exchange, which can get you any other things or more notes of exchange. So now money is something that is connected to allowing you to go further than you could before with something that you just created or that you made. It doesn't require you to have things, because you have this freedom ticket for anyone else to have. And the more freedom tickets that you have, the more things you can get, right? So when we're looking at the money story, the basic common sense is that the first way to make money is to have something that people want to buy. This might be something that you grew in your yard, something that you created with your own two hands. It can be anything that is connected to produce or products. This is what it is that makes you money initially. And that's very important to understand, that this is not the only way, but it is the initial way. It's the reason why money is necessary in the first place, that people had something to give away in exchange. Okay, so what a lot of people understand to make money is through employment. And it's important to recognize that employment is a secondary way to make money, because the first way to make money is to what? Is to produce. So to produce is the initial way to make money. And it's important to understand that you can't have employment without the initial production. You can't have the employment without the initial production. But a lot of people think that employment is the initial way that you make money. A lot of people don't know that it's actually the production. And it's really common sense. It's sitting right there. But it's just a blind spot. It's a pure blind spot. So to understand that production and the products and the things that you have creates employment, because employment is basically help. Okay, you have the produce, and these employees are here, hired help. They are hired help to help you in the production process to make the producer, the person who has the produce, more money. So it's really important to understand that employees don't get paid if the producer loses the produce, or loses the money, or loses the production. Like, that is common sense, but we really need to understand why, employment is a secondary way of making money. So their producer is producing products, which produces money exchange, which produces employees. So the producer is producing employees, which means that the employees are an invested product. That at the end of the day, the producer takes home more money, And the employees also get a bite of that result, right? A bite of that bag. So the producer also can make more money and stabilize the payment to the employees, which means that even though the producer can make more money, the employees don't necessarily have to make more money. I mean, there are raises, there are promotions, there are things like that, but it's not necessarily the way that the amount of money the producer makes doesn't necessarily become a direct raise to the employees in some cases. Now, in some other cases where people do business, they might actually make that connection. But if we understand like your basic everyday, job, most systems work in which even though the producer is making more money, it doesn't necessarily mean that the employees will get more money. But if you were ever to go into production, if you were ever to be your own producer, you might make that change and do a different type of business where if you make more money, your employees make more money. That would just be a different way of doing business, wouldn't it? And it's also important to know that the employees could also be seen as products for the producer, right? Because they are now giving up their time and their bodies to make money. So the exchange for the employee to make money is to give up their time and their body for that money. Therefore, one can conclude that employment also not only is the initial way to make money, but will not necessarily make you the most money, because you can't guarantee that you will get more money if the producer makes more money. So there is a question of growth, unless you do impress them and you get promotions and things like that, but not necessarily. Therefore, employment can now be reduced to not one of the greatest ways to make your money because of the odds that are against you in being able to impress them so that you have longevity and get promotions, and also how much growth you can actually have depending on what the producer is willing to cut you more of. Therefore, we can definitely say that in the money story, employment is one of the things that is not necessarily clear enough for people to understand, that it's not the way that money actually flows the most to you. And when we're looking at exchanging our time and our bodies for money, there is this illusion that that is the way to get more money. I have to do more. I have to employ myself under some more jobs. And that may not actually be the case.